Today, we'll explore how three key aspects of the Milankovitch cycles, eccentricity, precession, and tilt, all affect the Earth's water and carbon cycles, particularly through their influence on ice accumulation and melting in the Northern Hemisphere. At the end of this video, I've given some example 4-mark answers, so please don't panic about taking your notes. These are slides at the end of the presentation. Part 1. Eccentricity. Eccentricity refers to the shape of the Earth's orbit around the Sun. Over a cycle of about 100,000 years, Earth's orbit shifts from being nearly circular to more elliptical. During high eccentricity, the distance between the Earth and the Sun varies significantly, creating more pronounced seasons. At the moment, the Northern Hemisphere is tilted away from the Sun during perihelion in the winter. This means we have ice accumulation and, as a result, cooler temperatures. In the summer, at the moment, the Northern Hemisphere is tilted towards the Sun during aphelion. As a result, meaning that we have less direct sunlight when we are facing towards the Sun. A little bit more on this about how this affects water and carbon on the next slide. To keep it simple, if the Northern Hemisphere experiences colder winters during aphelion, ice sheets will grow, slowing the water cycle and locking in carbon in permafrost. On the other hand, when perihelion aligns with summer, increased temperatures cause ice to melt, resulting in fresh water being released into oceans and trapped carbon into the atmosphere, intensifying both water and carbon cycles. Precession. Precession refers to the wobble in the Earth's axis, which changes the timing of the seasons relative to the Earth's orbit over a 26,000 year cycle. This can also tie in to play a key role within our eccentricity. When the Northern Hemisphere's summer occurs at perihelion, summers are hotter, leading to rapid ice melting. This melting accelerates the water cycle through increased freshwater discharge and releases stored carbon into the atmosphere, typically from the cryosphere, or, as previously mentioned, from permafrost, driving the carbon cycle potentially into a positive feedback loop. Conversely, when summer occurs during aphelion, cooler summers allow ice sheets to grow, reducing both freshwater inputs and carbon release. Tilt, otherwise known as obliquity. Tilt, or obliquity, describes the angle of the Earth's axis relative to its orbital plane. This can vary between 22.1 and 24.5 degrees over a 41,000 year cycle. At the moment, Earth is around 23.5 degrees. A higher tilt amplifies seasonal differences, with hotter summers that cause ice sheets to melt, boosting freshwater input into the oceans and releasing carbon stored in permafrost. A higher tilt referring to, of course, 24.5 degrees. A lower tilt creates milder summers, promoting ice sheet growth, which slows down the water cycle and traps carbon in frozen soils, reducing atmospheric carbon levels. Due to the accumulation in ice, we'd also expect to see increased effects from the albedo effect, as a result leading to cooler temperatures across the Earth. In summary, the interplay of eccentricity, precession, and tilt shapes patterns of ice accumulation and melting in the Northern Hemisphere. These changes link directly to water and carbon cycles, demonstrating how Earth's natural processes work together to influence Earth's climate over long timescales. Let's now talk about the impact of intertropical convergence zones on water and carbon cycles. The Intertropical Convergence Zone, or ITCZ for short, is a band of low pressure, which is typically found between the Hadley cells. The Hadley cells are two large air masses typically found either side of the equator, but this can significantly change due to the tilt and obliquity, as we have previously discussed. In its simplest of forms, the ITCZ moves bands of low pressure. This means that the areas affected by it will have higher rates of photosynthesis and hence higher transfer of carbon from the atmosphere to the biosphere, as a result sequestering our carbon. In areas of high pressure, the rate of photosynthesis is reduced, so the rate of sequestration is lower, or non-existent, as all energy might be reserved for plant maintenance rather than reserving extra carbon for growth. We might refer to this period as a drought. In areas of low pressure, increased rates of rainfall are likely to also remove carbon from the atmosphere as carbonic acid. This could result in the potential increase of erosive potential, so flooding, and chemical weathering. This would move carbon from the lithosphere and the pedosphere into the hydrosphere, potentially also releasing by diffusion into the atmosphere. Now, drought drives the water content from trees. About 50% carbon and 50% H2O is the normal makeup of them, to become more carbon rich. This could result in an increased risk of wildfires, as flames are going to have better tinder for the fire to spread. As a result, this could even be considered a negative feedback mechanism that balances the increased rates of photosynthesis in the wet season. As shown by the video behind me, we have the monsoon season in India. This is the perfect example. In India, it is very dry during December. As a result, this means they have droughts with less increases in photosynthesis. However, in June, when the band of low pressure moves over the north of India, this results in the monsoon season, where we see increased rates of growth, as a result, storing and sequestering more carbon. Like and subscribe for more Barnhill Geography educational content. Thank you for watching.